talking about Bitcoin today. BTC USD, it is the 19th day of April. Here we are with about 10 and a half hours left in the day, sitting here at $76,000. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I didn't make any videos yesterday. It was a rather special day for me and the family, so we were doing that. We were doing family stuff yesterday, and it was a really good day. But let's carry on. Let's move on here. So here we are at about $76,000. I just genuinely did not have time yesterday. No time at all. A little bit of time this morning, so we're going to carry on. I did say in my last Bitcoin video on Friday that it would actually be beneficial if we saw a drop over the weekend. It would actually be beneficial because then we're left with the CME gap at the top. And typically when we dump over the weekend, we pump over the week, we pump over the weekend, we dump over the week, right? That's typically what happens. Typical does not mean it has to happen. It doesn't mean that's always the case. It's just typically what we see. In fact, the fact that we're back around 76K right now, I don't like it. I want today to close red. Close red, give us more of a spring coiling for next week to expand and continue to push higher. We did push higher. We have been expecting since these highs here. We've been, and maybe not even those highs, let's be fair, since these highs here, that we would see some type of drawback, that this move overall was either at its end or very near its end. And we are reaching the upper limitations of what I think is really likely for this move to achieve. I don't believe that the bear market low is in. We still have a lot of time before that's proven. This is actually a very short amount of consolidation phase. If this were to be a low, it's still early to determine that. And of course, everybody's a genius saying that the bear market low is in at the highs, and everybody's a genius down here saying the bear market low is not in. We're going to go lower. Of course, people are their loudest at these extreme flux points here, but what I'm trying to get to is that I do believe ultimately, bullish, bearish, who cares, doesn't matter. We're moving sideways. We're at the upper limits of sideways. We're at the highest prices we've seen since February. The market is a bit overextended. People seem to be very excited and very bullish. There's man, this thing I thought would load already, but it's still taking its sweet time to load. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. There's still, over the last month, a ton of longs that need to be reconciled with, and a lot of, there were a lot of shorts that were cleared out as well. We could definitely come up and clear some of these shorts out, but if we're looking at this now, we've got about $3 billion in shorts compared to $9 billion in longs, guys. That's 3-1. The longs have it, and a lot of those longs get cleared out once we go below 70K. I very, very, very much believe that we will be going below 70K. We will even be going below 69K. The question here is not, are we going to come back down? The question is, how low do we go? Because from here, we absolutely, I said this before, and I want you guys to be aware, just real quick, I'm jumping all over the place. We're going to tie it in a nice little bow by the end of it, but I'm giving you all the thoughts, right? The first thought was, we're probably going to come up Monday, Tuesday, right? Because we're dropping over the weekend. We're probably going to come up over the week. This might not be the high. We might get a slightly higher high still from here and then come down. Maybe we come up, we get a slightly lower high and then come down. But ultimately for this move up, just like this move up here, or maybe these are two separate moves like that, whatever. We are at a high point. We are at a high point. I very strongly believe that we are at a high point in this range and that we will be breaking out of this and we will be coming down. The question is, do we form a higher low, or are we actually at the point now where we could break out? Again, and before I got a little distracted there, to re-clarify, I was saying back here that if we pushed to 78K, 79K right now in April, it's possible that I was wrong in thinking that this consolidation phase would last until June. Right, we were thinking that we'd find the high in May or June and then likely sell off. We would break out of this to the downside in June or July. The fact that we've gotten this high this fast in April, it could be May that we're breaking out of this range to the downside. It could be this next attempt down that breaks us out to the downside. It really could be. I don't believe in sell in May and go away. I do believe in sell in April or sell in June and go away. And the fact that we have the highest price of this range here, and I don't expect us to get too much higher, it does not bode well for that idea of sell in June and go away. It seems like things are kicking off right now. And again, over the last month, we have a ton of longs piled on, 3-to-1 ratio there versus the shorts. And over the last 90 days, still a lot more longs than shorts. It's not as what's the word to use? It's not as extreme in its range, but still, and again, maybe we move up a little bit more. Maybe we do move just below 80K. We get right to that psychological threshold of 80K, clear out like $4 billion in longs, or sorry, shorts, pile on the longs, and then we dump. We could see one last little push higher. Maybe we come down, we get a higher low, we start working our way back up, and then it's June and we have a slightly higher high right here at 80K, something like that, and we are moving sideways. In other words, what I'm saying here, because again, I'm throwing you all over the place, the same thoughts are still valid, but there's a new premise, right? The thoughts that we've had literally since this day was that we would move sideways until May, June, or July at the latest, and that sometime in June or July, likely we'd be breaking out down. We could even it could even be later than June or July, but I think June or July is the likelihood. Maybe May we're breaking down, but the thought here now is that this next attempt down, whereas for most of this move I've been assuming we'd form a higher low, maybe a slightly lower low, but we'd still come up. This next move down could be the move that breaks us out to the downside. So it's something we need to be aware of. We're at 76K now. I don't believe we have too much higher to go. I don't believe that we are going to get above this high. Not financial life's not a financial advisor. You know, it might be a good time to de-risk with altcoins. It might be a good time to de-risk with crypto as a whole. If you and maybe not even de-risk, but if you're looking to FOMO in at the top, maybe it's a good time to just sit on your hands and do nothing and wait for the prices to come back down to a more moderate level. I'm not necessarily, I guess I'm somewhat advocating for the sell here, to be fair. This is still a legendary price area to buy Bitcoin. You're going to be a genius at buying Bitcoin here, even at the top of this range. You might not feel like a genius over the coming months, but you'll feel like a genius over the coming years. Absolutely, you will. This would be like the equivalent of buying at 20K or 30K in the last bear market. Buying at these levels here, and you're a genius for buying at those levels even now at 76K in the depths of this bear market. But I digress. All I'm trying to say is I don't think we go too much higher. The best case scenario, in my opinion, would be one of two things. Either one, we push higher right now up to this area, just a slightly higher high somewhere in this area, around $78,000 to $80,000, or we come down, we form a higher low, we come down, we form a lower low, but we're not breaking out yet. We're still consolidating, doing our thing, and then we find this slightly higher high some other time in a month or two from now. And then after that, then after this sequence, I would be very, very confident that we are going to break out to the downside on the next move down. Here, it's not that I'm not confident. I'm iffy. I don't know. We really do now have the potential to break out of this to the downside, guys, with this next move. So it's something we have to be aware of. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. For now, I'm pretty confident in calling for prices below 69K. I'm not so confident in calling for prices that are below 60K. Anything and everything in between is fair game. And when we're in this kind of fair game area, I'm wondering what we'll see. If it's going to preside bearish, or if we'll have reason to believe that we do bounce. And maybe we bounce, but we still then break down. We'll see how it goes. But I think I've laid out the template. This here does change things, and it's not for the better. It takes the time frame that we had and it hastens it a little bit. But maybe not. That's the not fun part. It'd be more fun if we knew that it hastened it, but it's more of it just puts that potential out there. The 1 hour time frame. Looking at the 1 hour time frame again, I am happy to see that we've dropped over the weekend. I think that typically does mean good things. Over the weekend we've had some negative news come out about the Iran United States conflicts or whatever, and maybe not even our conflict, but with French and UK ships being attacked in the Strait of Hormuz allegedly, or supposedly. That seems to be what's happening. Maybe they've been attacked, maybe they've been targeted. I don't know what the case is. Blockade's still up and running, as far as I know, from both the United States and Iran. At least that's what I read today. So I don't necessarily know what's going on that side of the world. I don't think anybody does, but it seems like right now we're taking the negative narrative. We're dropping over the weekend, so then Monday, Tuesday comes around, and we likely will pump up as a result of that. The question is, do we see a lower high? Do we see a higher high? Either way, I think we'll fill the gap from where we closed on Friday, which was right around 77K. So we probably do see prices around, if not just above, $77,000 again. That'd be my guess. whether that's today, Sunday, and then we open up here on Monday. Then if we do that, maybe we do drop. Maybe we do drop on Monday, Tuesday. Or if we come down, we close around here today, and then Monday, Tuesday, we're working our way up, however it works. Looking at the indicators here, looking at the 1 hour time frame, decent bit of volume at the top, not too much. Looking at the RSI, we've been lingering in the oversold zone, pushing the price down, volume's dying off. You had a little volume pickup here, but it was on a wick up, and now we're shifting back to the upside. I think things are taking a little bit of a bullish shape here. The stochastics look bullish. And the MACD, we did have bullish divergence as well. You're seeing that enact right now. If we're looking at this on the 4 hour time frame, you did find support at prior resistance. Volume was building as you're moving up. You look good on the 4 hour, very resilient. We're at the same areas where we have actually been finding support in the RSI really since the 30th of March and all month of April. So we are at a point to find support. Did I say resistance? I meant support, sorry. And what we're looking for here is one of two things, guys. Are we going to come up and reject the overbought area? Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to reject the overbought area? Or do we live to fight another day? Do we get into the overbought zone and then we continue to do this, or we continue to do this stuff? You know, what are we going to do? Are we going to get overbought? If so, the party continues. We'll probably see higher highs. Are we not going to get overbought? Are we going to reject? We still could see a slightly higher high with a reading like this. We could wick above this high. But if we're rejecting the overbought zone, whatever that is, that'll be a clear sign on the 4 hour time frame here that this is the time for us to come down. Okay? Here we did not reject the overbought zone. Here we did not reject the overbought zone. Here we did not. 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 If we start to reject the overbought zone throughout this whole time, where we've been finding support in this same area, you know, more or less, whatever, this whole time we've gotten into the overbought zone, no problem at all, no rejections. If we do that now, this time something's different. The momentum is shifting. It's clearly being designated on the RSI here, and it's the 4 hour RSI. That is significant enough, in my opinion, to declare that we do have a relative top. We don't really see any rounding yet, right? It's just kind of a straight line up. So what we might get here is a little bit of some rounding. We might round off, and if we do that, guys, we will see a sudden shift sometime later this upcoming week. And it will likely take us below 70K. Absolutely, I'd be very convinced that it does. My expectation is not that from here we're just going to drop through the floor like that, but I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how it happens, you know, one of two ways. We could round the top, we could get a double top. I wouldn't be surprised if the initial drop from this area to the low 70s, like 73 to 70K, somewhere in there, if that initial shift was sharp. And then we kind of meander, we do our thing, we work our way down for the rest of it, going over the next couple weeks or so, going into the end of April. From back here, we were expecting, and maybe even back here, we were expecting that the end of April would be a drop. We'd see a dump going into the end of the month. Because of how high we are, the dump might be more extreme than I had originally thought, but we'll see. Stochastics bouncing off the oversold zone, not bad. RSI bouncing where it's supposed to bounce, not bad. MACD is still taking a bullish shape overall. There's no reason for me, at least at this point, to expect that we're dropping right now. I'm seeing it happen. It's probably going to happen this week that we start to drop down below these levels, back towards, if not below 70K. And certainly between this week and next week, I very much expect that that'll happen. But for now, I do see us coming back up at least above 77K. Depends on what we do there. We could go a little bit higher. I don't really care one way or another. I do think that we're in a top area anytime we're above 77K. We look at this on the daily time frame. Sorry, guys. It was a bit of a party yesterday. I feel like my voice is a little bit dead, but we're working with 76K right now. We are rejecting the overbought zone on the daily. You got into it, but that still looks like a rejection. Coming back up like this isn't bad. Now, if we do this, if we come up on the daily and we do like tip it like that, we get some bearish divergence, a higher closing high and a lower high there. That would also be a negative signal. I mean, the last time that you rejected the overbought zone like this without getting into it, that was our last top relative to this range. So the stochastics have been overbought. This is actually the most overbought, you guys. The most and most persistent overbought that we've seen the stochastics since the October highs. This is the most overbought, and dare I even say these are better readings than what we had in the October highs. And the move itself, by the way, we compare it from a low to a high here. put it a little high. The move itself was actually even more, I don't know if it was stronger because it took more time, but it was larger. It was larger, more consistent too. Maybe a stronger move depending on how you want to phrase it, but it was a very similar move, but a little bit bigger. So, and just for perspective, was this all just one quick dump? No, it wasn't. But the initial part was. And then we pandered, we meandered. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of exactly what we were forecasting here. That's how it was here. Initial dump, consolidate, and then you finish it off, right? It's not all at once like this. This was just all at once here, man. The all at once stuff comes when you're breaking out. We're not at a breakout phase yet. And that's another thing too. Anybody calling this a breakout for Bitcoin is missing one thing that is vital for any breakouts and all breakouts. Volume. I don't care whether you're looking at the Binance chart on USDT, you're looking at the Coinbase chart, USD, USDC, whatever. Volume matters. There's not, I mean, it's slightly above average. We've seen some slightly above average volume, which is somewhat good enough. And we know that it's above average because the histogram here, this little line, for example, right here, that would be average volume. So we saw just above average. But if you take into context this whole range, it's really not that high. It's not breakout worthy. This was breakout volume. And what were we doing here? We were breaking out. You know what I mean? It's a little bit higher, but it's more significant than what we have here. And I just don't see it happening, especially the fact that we would quote unquote break out on this day and we're not seeing any follow through. Anybody who's looking at this like we back tested resistance, that means we're going through the roof. Let's see if any volume comes in. I would love it if I'm wrong. If this video ages like sour milk and we're up at 90K by the end of April, that would be the best outcome for me and I think for a lot of people in crypto. Not for the people who are out of crypto, but you know, it would be the best outcome. But I'm not making this video as like a meme. I'm making it as a serious analysis. And I am not concerned. I'm just very convinced that we will drop. We will see some lower prices to go. Anyways, I don't have anything else to say. I've done enough talking. The stochastics are overbought, have been overbought for a second. The RSI is rejecting the overbought zone. We're at these areas where we have typically found resistance dating back to October, let alone all the times throughout this year that we've been up here. And the MACD, I mean, to be fair, the MACD is probably your best argument for the bullish case. It's probably the only argument on the daily time frame that really is something bullish here because you've broken through the zero, you've broken through this trend line dating back to May of last year. This actually is a bullish case, and this could, again, like I said, there's a chance maybe we do rally. I don't expect it. That's not the call. I also don't think the MACD is as reliable whenever we're in choppy and sideways environments, which we are. But we're starting to get a little bit of movement here. Maybe it's telling the truth. It's not enough for me to be too excited. And beyond that, again, we're at rejection points for both of these other indicators. So, and I mean, if we really look at it on that note, the histogram here is basically at the levels that we do typically see rejections. Maybe in the bull market it's different, but here lately, you know, maybe a little bit higher if anything. The oscillators here are at an area where we found resistance last time. You know, it kind of in these areas where we found resistance here as well. It really could be a point of which we reject, if not move a little bit higher and then come down. But I don't need to beat a dead horse. I think you guys know what I'm saying here. I'm going to end the video, so hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Weekly time frame is a bit interesting too, isn't it? Yeah, because we're crossing green. There are such things as a false cross, you guys. We get, you know, false cross to the red side here. False cross to the green side here. You know, we had a false cross right there. And a lot of people in this consolidation range, which lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On the 10th week, we were at the high. This was March. We're in April now. Pretty similar time frame. A lot of people were excited here because of this green cross. And that was at the highest point of the range that we'd seen. And then we dropped down. That's what happened. Then we broke out. This, if you're relying on this to tell you that you know something special, just again, the idea that we could be consolidating until June or July, it's not out the window entirely, but it's shifted. There is a chance that we could be looking to shift down and break out as early as May, break below 60K. That could happen from here. We saw the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks here. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks there. I don't know, man. Maybe 11 if you count this week, but I'm just counting from the low on both. I don't know, man. Stochastics are bearish. I mean, they're bullishly shifted now. The RSI breaking out of its downtrend is somewhat bullish as well. But the thing is, and I keep trying to end the video, guys, but I'm trying to inform you here because this is stuff that I've learned in my 10.5 years doing technical analysis. Just because you break out of a downtrend in the RSI does not mean that you found the low point in your price. You're very near it. What this means is if you have a trend, and we have a trend here, what it means is one of two things. Either yes, you have your low, or you're very near it. But in this breakout, and I've said this enough in my time as an analyst on here, I know that people who've been watching at least for a year, you're aware of this, but it's not uncommon to go from a downtrend, not into an uptrend immediately, but into a sideways trend. We shift sideways. And in this sideways, you still move lower. You still do. You could get higher lows. You still move lower. And then you shift it into an uptrend. And then you shift it into an uptrend later. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we saw. But we'll see. Time will tell. A lot of people mistake that with the RSI. Just because you break out of an uptrend does not mean that your uptrend in the price is over. Just because you break out of the downtrend in the RSI does not mean your downtrend in the price is over. We still have a lot of proving to do. We're at prior points of support, prior points of resistance. No volume. No volume, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.